Yo, we about to get started up in here. What's good? What's good? What's good? It's your boy Dr. Henry. We back. We back. About to have another chat. How y'all doing out here? How y'all doing out here? All right. So, yo, so much I've been wanting to talk about for a long time. I just don't. I just don't like get out here as frequent as I need to. And every time I want to respond to something, I find myself like, man, do I need to exert the energy to respond to certain things? And then time passes, and I'm like, all right, whatever, it's gone. I had a video that I did, a pre-recorded video, and um, yeah, I wanted to respond to Dr. Umar Johnson on some stuff when he was talking about he thinks that more black people will vote for Donald Trump than for Kamala Harris, and he gave like two reasons why. It was nonsense. So it was all right. Nonsense just sweeps a lot under the rug. I should really unpack it a little bit if I was going to go into it right now. But like he gave two reasons, and I talked a little bit about this here. I think one reason was that black people have been voting for the Democratic Party for 90 years and haven't gotten anything from that, and so people are getting disenchanted with voting, and they're going to stop voting for the Republican Party. And the second thing he said was that black people are attracted to Trump's apologetic vibe. So there's so much wrong with that, which makes me think he believes black people are gullible as a whole more than other groups, that black people are probably just outright dumb, the majority of us, because the majority of black people vote for the Democratic Party. So, and have been. Yeah, it's crazy. So I got this video that I did already on this topic. So I gotta post it at some point. And I guess I'm gonna talk a little bit about it tonight. Since I titled this Kamala Harris is better than Donald Trump. So I get to speak to a lot of different things and a lot of different people, especially people, particularly black people who's voting for Trump. I mean, well, black folks who are voting for Donald Trump, honestly, how do I put it nicely? I, misinformed and or suffering from a kind of post-traumatic slave syndrome. I think that black people voting for Trump are either horrendously misinformed and or suffering from a fear of white supremacy, so much so that they want to be a part of it or they don't want to see it. And so they assess the issues in American politics in a way that racism doesn't has any influence. And so they basically adopt a colorblind view of the United States or the world at large. So yeah, somebody like Dr. Umar Johnson, I feel that he's mainly exploiting Black people. I mean, a part of his agenda, I think, is sincere, but then I feel that he is using sensational rhetoric to appeal to people, so much so that he begins to make a lot of mistakes. He says a lot of things that are not accurate, misleading, and it makes him look like an op, at least in my eyes. I already in one other video, like, responded to something he said using data, right? When he says Kamala Harris pretty much made a career off of arresting a lot of Black people. And I showed the stats of arrests, and that just like debunks that assessment he made. But does that data changes what people think about Kamala Harris? No, they will still hold on to Dr. Umar Johnson's portrayal of her, and that's concerning. So that means we have a situation where there is misinformation being corrected, but people are still holding on to it, and that's why I feel that there could be a issue of you know internalized racism, or being fatigued by racism, or being caught up in the spell of white supremacy and sexism. Because a lot of folks use sexist arguments against her, but then again, I just feel like that's probably ducking and hiding. Um, so I feel that these are things that deserve some attention, because as a Black man, it's just really tough to watch other people just be misled in that way. And I say this as like a historian, because at the end of the day, if somebody is going to vote against her, particularly a Black person, I can't say anything if they are making that decision based on a reality, and it's pretty much their perception, not their perception, but their their value system. If a person has a certain value system, then it's different. My argument's gonna be different. Like, some people are cruel people, so it's not about unpacking the facts. If somebody's cruel, they're gonna do cruel things. They're gonna support cruel people. If somebody, have a certain value, like sexism, they're gonna support misogynistic things. Like, they're gonna be into that. And then you just have to label it and call it out, right? That's what that is. But when you got people, who say X, Y, and Z is the reason why I don't vote for Kamala Harris, like, pretty much if you're saying you don't vote for Kamala Harris because she did something she didn't do, that's misinformation. You feel me? And I feel like we can have a basic conversation off of that. But I'm finding out that that's no longer that's not effective for people. So we got a big problem. So I'm really just invested in correcting the false statements, and then if people have like a certain, if somebody likes the color blue, there's nothing I can do about that. If you like the color red over blue, if you like chocolate ice cream over vanilla, like, that's okay. That's what nothing I can really do about that. But if you say something is poisonous and it's not, something is healthy and it's not, that is these are more objective claims. So when we say something about Kamala Harris, we're making objective statements about her. If somebody just say, again, I just don't like her for whatever reason, that doesn't rely on facts, then there's not much I can say really. Some people just don't have a their vibe don't get along with others. If it's a vibe thing, what can I say? But even vibes are created and dictated by what we know about certain things. So even then, information becomes significant to consider. But anyway, so this dude is go on and on and on, and he mixes in a lot of half truths with um, a lot of misleading rhetoric, and it's hard to keep up with it because it's easy just to make these claims. It's easy to make these claims. It's easy. It's harder to debunk them. So that's been one of the things. All right. You know, again, so black people who are voting for Kamala Harris, like, what do we do with that? I might be talking to some of y'all out there. I just want to make it clear that, like, black people, sorry, who vote for Trump, any black vote that Trump gets or have gotten was a vote that donated to the cause of white supremacy. That's it. So do what you want to do, but just keep that in mind. And for those of you out there who are not sure, like, this is what's happening. A black person voting for Donald Trump is giving a vote to white supremacy, to white nationalism, to American fascism. I hear people responding to me like, "Oh, I heard it all. I'm tired of it. Yeah, whatever. I'm still voting for Trump." And then when they do their because, it's all in the because. I always wait for the because. It is always nonsense. I hate to just say, like, be so frank about it, but sometimes you gotta be frank about it. Like, there's no more I can say. What can I say? People are not everybody, but certain folk are not interested in understanding the reality of a situation. They're not. Having the truth of the matter, having the context of a matter doesn't matter. And it be a lot of dudes who like to use the phrase emotions. I'm not voting for my emotions. Or I'm not making decisions based on our emotions. The dudes who posture themselves in such a masculine, intellectually masculine way are the ones who are the most emotional because they cannot handle information. And so here we are. And let me be clear, because this could almost sound like I am giving some credit to Dr. Umar's false statement that black people, the majority of black people will want to move away from the Democratic Party. The reason why I say that is because I'm really talking about a very small minority of black people. But I just feel like one person is too many. Let me just, just chilling tonight. When you hear a black person say something like black people who vote Democrat are on the plantation, you have just heard someone who is horrendously misinformed. I'm telling you right now. They're misinformed, or they know the reality, the truth, and they're being manipulative. I am speaking not as a supporter of the Democratic Party. I'm speaking as a historian right now. If any of you are confused about the relationship between the parties and slavery and racism and contemporary politics today, please just let me know. We can chop it up. Well, I can point you to the directions where you don't have to listen to my voice talk about it. Okay. I wish I could say that. Raise your hand if you heard, black folks say, black Democrats are on the plantation. If you heard that, then you have heard misinformation, more like disinformation. Yeah, you can you can gather some truth out of that, but it's wrong. And people are running with that. Like there are a lot of people who are holding that, and that's their main reason why they're not voting for Democrats. Then you have the other statement that black people have been voting for Democrats all this time. We haven't gotten anything. That's another piece of misinformation. Speaking as a historian, not as a supporter of the Democratic Party. I'll let you know when I'm speaking as a supporter of the Democratic Party. In a second, I'll get back. I'll get to it. As a historian, those questions are those statements are problematic, my friends. They're problematic. I've talked about it a few times live. And even some of the things I'm talking about now, I spoke about. And so if you continue to listen to me, you're going to hear a lot of the same things because that information is not widespread. It's not common knowledge. It's not like, I want this to be so regular. Like it's the word, Dunkin' Donuts. If you say to somebody tells you, yo, I want to go to Dunkin' Donuts. You don't even got to like their donuts, but you understand, what Dunkin' Donuts is. You understand what kind of business it is, kind of food they make. Like you understand, you get it. Even you don't gotta like the food. It's just everybody knows about Dunkin' Donuts in America for the most part, right? I wanted something like that, like a Walmart. You want to say a Walmart? Everybody kind of understand Walmart, Best Buy, baseball, right? This is common. Like some of our black history, we can never know everything, but there's just some things that all of us should know, right? And the responses, the true understanding of these claims of these false claims that are made to attack us, to manipulate us, that needs to be common knowledge. Which is why I am going to run a black politics course for the public online. There are just certain things that should be common knowledge, right? Speaking as a historian still, black folks are targeted with misinformation. And a lot of that misinformation is targeting the black experience, black politics. Yeah. Of course, for good reason, for people who don't want to see racial equality or multiracial democracy. I get it. I get why we are the number one targeted minority group with misinformation, more than any other group. Like there are companies, there are centers that are targeting black people. How do I get young black folks confused about their own history? To get them to vote against their own history, against their own progress, against their interests. They are doing that right now and have been doing so for at least a decade. Here we are. It used to be fun and games at one point, but now it's not because this misinformation is so insidious that it's getting into young black and brown kids' minds. And while this misinformation is spreading among us like a virus, like a very contagious virus, because it just sounds cool. It sounds cool. You sound smart to say you're on a plantation, repeating something that Candace Owens says. Democratic Party, Democrats leaving the plantation because that's the party of slavery. It sounds right, but it's so misleading. It's so wrong. And people running with that and haven't even cracked open any book on the matter. Ain't that crazy? I mean, literally, I feel like I should be trying to sell these people something to just make money off of them because they're just buying information. They're not even buying it, it's just accepting it for free and running with it. They're believing with it, making political choices based on that. That is crazy, ladies and gentlemen. That is crazy. What y'all got to say? I got more to say, but I want to hear from y'all. Let me hear from y'all. All right, I'm gonna throw a little music on so I can see if there's any comments coming up here. I want to hear from y'all. What's good?